You guys have spoken and Mako is the winner. If you want to participate in votes like these, join my Discord server. We're having a blast and you might meet a few new people you like. But we aren't here to talk about my Discord server, duh. We're talking about this menace of a legend, Mako. If you ask me what my thoughts are on Mako, my mind pretty much just consists of... yeah, I have to come clean. Mako is one of my least experienced legends in the game. Back when J-Un dropped, I was all over Greatsword. Then Mako dropped with two of my arguable favorite weapons at the time, and I don't know, she just kind of felt bland. I don't know what it is. I should have liked her too based off some of her signatures and, of course, her weapons. But underneath those positives, she's got some negatives, and we'll talk about all of that good business. Because trust me, she's got some weird stuff to dive into. Get it? Because kids dive and Mako's a shark and... enough stalling, on to the signatures. They're all over the place, so let's start with Greatsword. Greatsword Insig, I'd say, is one of her worst signatures. It's kind of slow to come out, and if you miss it, you'll be in a world of pain. And even on hit, it doesn't offer too much. A lot of dunking sigs feel really nice to use, but I'm sorry, this one doesn't really offer too much. It feels really niche to go for. Greatsword side sig is a whole different story and has probably given some gold to Vietnam flashbacks, and there's good reason for it too. The sig has some wild overall distance, and when slide charged off platforms creates even more problems. Although it does have lower force, it's less of a hindrance on the signature since you go a good chunk off stage occasionally when hitting it. And while it does have a good amount of end lag, more than Insig actually, it just feels so much better to use overall, since it leaves you in a less punishable position. And don't even get me started with side sig going over landmines. Trust me, Mako players are having a field day with this one. Lastly, we have Greatsword down sig, which even far in the past I didn't underestimate. Looking back at it, I'm dare to say this one felt like an early version of Amugi's Greatsword down sig. Slide charging offstage feels amazing to do, except the difference is that Amugi's down sig is extremely menacing. Mako's down sig, while good, still doesn't have that much force. None of her sigs do, even of a 6 strength legend. I don't know. Mako prioritizes speed over strength, of course, so it's not a big deal, but just next to side sig, this one feels really nice. On to guitars, we have some nasty signatures that don't quite beat Mako's Greatsword game, but still slap real hard. Guitar Insig is another dunking sig, which is pretty nice, and it's definitely better than Greatsword Insig. This one has active input, and you can even true combo with GC downlight at lower damages. An extremely niche combo, but she has it nonetheless. The sig definitely just feels better to use overall due to less end lag, and it feels easier to space out where the enemy's going with it, since it's just a direct hit up. Not the best dunking sig, of course, but it's a solid one. Guitar side sig, I actually called one of her worst signatures back in my first analysis for Mako, but I severely underestimated this one's power. Yeah, it might not have the biggest hitting area or anything super special like that, but it's quick to come out. Of course, you don't want to throw it out all the time, but every now and then you'll get some great usage out of it. Lastly, we have Guitar down sig. The best guitar sig Mako has, since it's another get off me signature. Seriously, how many of these do we have in Brawlhalla at this point? Unlike a lot of them, this one stays active for a considerably longer time, and using it slide charged, of course, is my favorite thing to do. I mean, come on, slide charging is so fun to do. You can't blame me. So yeah, even though I believe Mako's Greatsword sigs are overall better, you can't go wrong with playing either weapon. Will you be an annoying guitars player or an annoying Greatsword player? Pick your poison. Let's take a look at Mako's skins though. She only has one new one, which is a bit unfortunate, but let's see what we're working with. In God tier, we have Orca Mako. This isn't the one I use actually, but it's slick looking and has an animated Greatsword, arguably one of the best Greatswords in the game. Pretty good tier has Abyssal Goblin and... Jormungandr? Jormungandr. Okay. Pretty good tier has Abyssal Goblin and Jormungandr.
Jormungandr. Okay. Pretty good tier has Abyssal Goblin and Jormungandr tier 2. Abyssal's just nice to look at with color swaps too, and Jormungandr tier 2 is just the right amount of detail. Tier 3 and tier 1 lack a bit in that department, which I'll get to. Average tier has default Hammerhead, Jormungandr tier 3 and 1, and Alepisaurus Mako. Default's just okay, I guess. Nothing too special about it, really. Hammerhead was my original pick, but does also lack a little bit. Using the deal with the emote on it is pretty funny, though. I know most Mako players would rather choose Jormungandr tier 3 over tier 2, but it feels like there's too much going on with it. The weapons, while animated, I really don't like very much. Jormungandr tier 1 is a bit too naked for my liking as well, but is alright. Alepisaurus is the only new Mako skin we have this time around, and I'll definitely take it over terrifyingly cute skins. Plus, the Greatsword is pretty top tier. Lastly, and surprisingly in med tier, we have Swim Team Mako. There's that terrifyingly cute skin we were just talking about. It's another one that I despise quite a lot, but I must admit, it's not that bad. I actually like that Mako's wearing swimming gear with the Brawlhalla logo on it and such, something that we don't actually see very often, if at all. The weapons are decent too, but damn, this face is terrifying.
This isn't another Yeti Onyx case, thankfully, but I was pretty roasted for my thoughts on that skin in my Onyx analysis. Overall, I placed the skins in some high tiers, which I didn't quite expect, as I really don't like them too much, but most of Mako's skins aren't bad. Tier list-wise, out of SAB, C, and D, I'd place Mako in about A- tier or even B+ tier. Back when I made the first analysis, I placed Mako in S tier, which is absolutely wild to think about. Although that was near when Mako had just released, like even Moonin didn't release yet. Her sigs were still a bit overtuned at the time. Sure, she has some fun signatures to use, and the weapon combo, pretty decent as well, but it's nothing that people will come back to often due to her stat lineup. Not mainly, but it's a part of the problem. 6 strength, 4 dex, 4 defense, and 8 speed. That's like a weird mirror version of Volkov's stats. My main gripe with it is that she has a decent amount of strength, but when I play her, it doesn't feel like it. The speed though? Oh yeah, you're gonna be zooming around a whole lot. I admit the high speed for guitars and Greatsword feels amazing to play, but then we get to look at 4 defense and yeah, people just run back to the same old overpowered legends we're used to. Don't mind me, just classic Lieutenant Lover Lady complaining. Either way, stances. Strength is baller, but leaves you in a glass cannon state. Dexterity was actually viable back when guitars had dex true combos blocked behind 5 dex, but now it's pretty useless. Taking out a speed in return for some defense is a solid move too, and pick speed if you want to run around like a demon, in exchange for some dexterity. Not that it matters anyways. It only makes sense that the Shark legend is one of the fastest legends in the game. As for her play rate, it's not looking too high, as it's sitting at the 0.73% area. Almost in the bottom 10, and might as well be since it's tied with Thea. So yeah, overall she has some neat factors that stick out about her, but when packed up all together, it doesn't really make for a very interesting legend. At least for me. I don't know, I'm not a big fan of animal legends. There's some exceptions like with Amugi, for example, and I really don't like the high speed either, even if it is both my previously most liked weapons. I wouldn't say that she's boring to play, because I can still have fun on her. It's just capped at a certain point, much lower than most of the other legends in the game. I'd also like to point out that in Mako's lore, it states that she's a great 2v2 partner, except that's extremely ironic considering Guitars and Greatsword are 2 of the least 2v2's friendly weapons in the game. I don't know, I just found it funny. Of course, if you like Mako, then much more power to you. There's a lot of other choices for Greatsword legends nowadays, with Arcadia and JN being 2 of the most solid, Amugi being super buff, and Magyar being pretty tanky, so if you're picking Mako after deciding all the other options weren't good enough for you, then I respect it. But what are your thoughts on Mako? Is she overpowered, underpowered, and is she really a good 2v2's teammate? Let's hear those thoughts down in the comments, I'm curious. And of course, if you enjoyed this analysis, subscribe. It costs $0.00 to do, and you can always unsubscribe at any time. Until next time, my fellas, keep on brawling.